Just checking if anything actually works. I have no clue because I don't see anything on the preview, and good evening. Am I visible? And can you hear me? That's the thing. Well, it for sure doesn't show up on my other machine here, but yeah, okay. Something is working anyway, and but okay. Just wait some, and I'll start with about DiagROM. Why doesn't it show on my other PC here? Oh, well, it's crap. Okay. Yeah, one viewer. Yay. So it's good. Okay. 209 something. Yeah. Something is weird anyway because it doesn't show up on my PC at all, and well, yeah, there's something. Okay. Oh, maybe something is weird anyway because it doesn't show up on my PC at all. So, okay, let's talk about DiagROM and what it is and what it's about and how to do basic setups. First of all, yeah, it's delayed. It's always delayed. First of all, of some reason, OBS cannot capture my Chrome or Internet Explorer any browser, so I can't show the page www.diagrom.com. To the right there's a download button, and where you can download the files to program into an EEPROM. You need to have an EEPROM programmer. It doesn't make any sense to make it load it from CLI or something because that requires a quite working machine. So, well, for that purpose, use Sisters instead, XM software. Anyway, try this. This is very new for me, and let's see if I can have something up here. When you download the files, you get this folder, and I will explain the files. Here in source, you get all the source code to do it. It's made in SM Pro, hardcore programming, so no cross development or anything. Just small. This is the source code, and this ROM split. After you assemble it, you can run it in the ROM mode, and then it saves a file, and you do ROM split into the splitting and the swapping and everything. So, but this is way too much, so let's skip this. If you have any questions about the source, tell me. Anyway, there's some files here. 16-bit, this is for Amiga 500, 600 and Amiga 2000. Basically all machines with 16-bit EEPROM. And 32 bits are high and low for the high word and the low word. There's an explanation on the DiagROM page what chip goes into what socket depending on what machine you have. This is for the 3000, the 4000 and the 1200 and also the CD32, but it's programmed into one EEPROM. First I think it's a low bank and then it's a high bank on a 27C800 chip. And then we have the 1000 ROM. It's older version because it's actually now past 64K. So I have not decided how to handle this yet. But you can program it into 32K ROMs and replace it on the Amiga 1000 instead of the Super Kickstart PROM, and we will use an older version of DiagROM. The DiagROM file here is actually simply a file that you can load in WinUAE, anything like that. And this one is simply the same thing, but for the Amiga 1000, but so you can test it in UAE something. Yeah. The 1000 version is old and obsolete actually, but it works. And then we have some README files and startup files. Just read those. I can't show it here because I'm sharing my window just so we just not show that one. Simple. Anyway, you don't need to do any byte swapping, anything like that, because everything is already done. So just load it into your EEPROM programming software and program them. I'm using a SuperPro 610S programmer. It's a quite expensive one, like 500 euros. You don't have to use that high-end programming device, even if this works with far more EEPROMs. You can use a SuperPro etc. where I maybe no, I don't have. Yeah, there it is. Let me show you like this. This one with this adapter, because the SuperPro does not support the 27C400 PROMs, so you need an adapter that adapts the 27C400 to 27C400 PROMs. Actually, this one also supports 27C800 that needs for CD32, and you can swap bank here. But it's all different. This is quite cheap programmer, and it works for EEPROMs. For GAL and PAL, no, it's crap. It's worthless piece of shit for GAL and PAL, etc. But for EEPROMs, works just fine. Anyway, and I was talking on Facebook, and we were talking about licensing. There was a hint because it's not free, because I demand if you charge more than 10 euros plus a hardware cost, then I want you to do some donation to some charity. Not to me. You can give me money if you want to, but I don't require any money. You do it for charity. Why? Because I'm tired of people charging like 5, 6, 50, 60 euros for a PROM when it's like 2 minutes work to do the program, the PROM and handling. So no, it's not okay. That's why I did this. Anyway, so it's on GitHub as well. my on Checky Gang. It's downloadable there, sources, everything. And so anyway, time to try to show something here, and this is based on the daily version. This is not from the stable, but the daily version. Can't remember the date, just to some days ago, this one. So it's that one I'm talking from, because it's some changes in the boot up compared to the stable version. Not big ones, just small differences. Okay, ROM insertions. How to remove a EEPROM. I actually use my favorite tool, this knife. Push it on under the socket here and wiggle and push it along and wiggle, wiggle and wiggle, wiggle, and make it so, do not press it to the board at all. Just flat around the socket and wiggle it, and you can remove it. No pins will be really bent or anything, and if you do a screwdriver chuck there, and you will damage the traces here. So do not do that. And here we have on the 1200 and 600 and 500 plus, there's one pin extra. Yeah, it is. It's something wrong. It is like that. On the pin 1, you actually put in the EEPROMs in pin 2. It's fully normal, because the 20C800 chip is 1 pin longer, and that one fills up the socket. And this is a Amiga one board, maybe heard of, and it supports 27800 proms as well, and you can here change it to the kickstart switch and change kickstart, but that's another thing. But anyway, that's how I do it, and it's like that for all machines except on older 500 machines, Rev 5 and below. I think you need to do a jump wire from pin 31 to pin 1, or it will not work. 31 to 1. Okay, so this is it. This is my personal Amiga board. No CPU, but it works with a CPU card. Yeah. And well, first let's talk about the actually most important thing is null modem and a serial cable. This is a null modem cable. You can look it up. It basically a serial cable where transmit signal is wired to receive signal on the other end, and the receive signal to transmit signal on the other end. It's like a crosswire. DiagROM does not care about handshaking, anything like that. So actually, a 3-pin cable will work, even if I do not recommend that type of cable normally. But for DiagROM, it works fine. And this is connected to my PC here. It can be a PCI serial port that I have, or it can be USB cable or anything. It will work. And I usually use put it in Windows. Now see if I can get this software to show, because OBS is really weird, and I do like this. Okay, this is putty, and I actually do like this. Find it here. I put 0 there, and my COM port is COM port 4. Speed is 9600. Yes, that's nice. And actually you can try open now and it will work, but I usually do like this also, so I can full screen, 32 lines. And then open, and now OBS will crash or behave strange. So I do this, and now my camera. Okay, this is very professional. Anyway, now I will also do like this, and I will put now when this blue screen is my composite out. Let's see if my capture card work. If I power on my machine now, you will see something happening. The Amiga screen is flickering green and black. If it flickers green and red, you have errors on run. And I actually just did this to get an output, serial output, so we can discuss what's happening. Here is what happened when you powered on the machine. It will put out some garbage, and it's actually not garbage. It's actually binary numbers. So you can try maybe to find out what bit error if serial output is total garbage. I maybe will remove this one because I haven't been helped by this at all, but okay, still there. And then it outputs some, well, what version we have, and it detects if we have loopback adapter installed. If not, it's not. Actually, if it detects it, it will turn off the serial port later and just skip that one, because then you can't see anything as you have the adapter in. It's now sends some information to the parent port, so you can actually sniff the parent port and see what status of the in the startup you are. And here it will show you if you have pressed any key in the button, left mouse button, right mouse button on any, it will tell it here. LMB1, LMB2, RMB1, RMB2, etc. I can talk more about this later, because depending on what button you have pressed during startup, you actually have different types of handling in the startup of DiagROM. Anyway, then it sets some registers, and if it crashes without saying done, you know that writing to that register made it crash. It doesn't help you maybe. DiagROM is not the software that you have plug in, powered on, and they say this is wrong. It just helps you diagnose the errors. Okay, test if the OVL is working. This can be buggy. I need to work on this one. The OVL is a thing that actually, when you power on the Amiga, the ROM is on address 0, and the CIA, usually the CIA turns it to 880000 instead. That's the overlay bit. So basically, I'm checking that ROM is not on 0000 instead. And then this is some excuse me, my cough here. This is from Stephen Leary, the Turbo Fire. That's doing some tests for the UDS, LDS, basically most for 030, etc. if it handles it correct, but this can be good to show that what happens that the old 30 card behaves correct, and then it starts searching for RAM. I will talk about later. This finds RAM that's working, and it finds 40 hexadecimal blocks. It starts at 400 hexadecimal and 20,000 hexadecimal. That's 2 megabytes of RAM. I'm not scanning the first 1K because it's actually not really RAM-ish. So yeah. And then we have workbench. That's actually where variables, etc. is stored, and I'm using the end of the detected RAM. So you can see here I'm using port. That's actually where variables, etc. starts for DiagROM. That's base memory. And if it detects shipmem, it just go on. If it doesn't detect shipmem, it will try to detect fastmem and then use fastmem instead. But then you cannot show anything on screen. You will just get flickers on the screen, but you get serial output. This is why the serial output is so important. And well, you can see it shows much more because in this part your screen has only been flashing green. Yeah, checking the loopback adapter again. Technical reasons in software. And checks that we have a raster that works. Shows a detected fastmem. A bug, ignore. Because I haven't searched for fastmem, and actually I haven't cleared the variable, so yeah, random number showed. And then base memory, again, telling where it used memory. Setting up the screen, always sets the register before writing done. So if it crashes, you know, actually you at least know what did the crash. And then it enables the screen for the user, and you can see here it dumps the same thing that on the screen on the serial port. It detects the CPU. If it's a 060, it will also detect what revision of the 060. It reads a register, so it's a good way to check if you have a fake CPU. And here comes my little note about donation. Still free. I do not demand anything at all, but I don't like people charging 50-60 euros for the prom. There's one that I allowing charging more than 10 or so. That's Gigi Labs, because he's using Flash ROM and he actually send me money per every sold card. So yeah, that's some sponsoring, but I think his price is well okay, but due that to the fact that it's actually Flash ROM. But you need a programmer as EEPROM programmer still, but you can erase it. You don't have to use UV-Light, etc. Anyway, it shows now to use serial, hold down any key. You just press any key on the Amiga keyboard or the PC keyboard, and it will continue using serial port, or press the right mouse button on the Amiga. Otherwise, after the dots here and the screen flashing telling the user that they should do something, if you haven't pressed anything, serial port will be disabled, and that will actually make output on the Amiga faster. But yeah, serial port is really handy. And then you can see the main menu here. Now we'll do something else here. I will see if I can put on the Amiga capture again. Down there, and if I now press left mouse button and power on the Amiga, what happens? What you notice is that now when I move my Amiga mouse, just flickers on the screen and only 0 output. And this is if you have some issues with well, doesn't start or anything, you can use that to test if the machine starts up more, then you can maybe rule out that maybe a Lisa or something is broken. And also if you have fastmem will be used instead of shipmem. And another power on thing is if you press the right mouse button while powering on, it will do the same as no button was pressed, but it's actually, if I put down here, check it here, and you will see that the workmem is from the beginning of the RAM instead of the end of the RAM. So here you can, if you have some dodgy RAM in the end and you have crashes, you can try the right mouse one to see if the software works better. And you can also combine both mouse buttons, and you will have fast RAM if possible, and it will use beginning of the fast RAM it found in the first fastmem block it found. Actually, it doesn't care about more. It just takes the first block it finds and then skip the rest always. Because in this software we can't use any memory, so I just have 7 registers to work with, so don't ask too much. And then another third option in the other mouse port. If you press left mouse button and power on, have I removed that one? Oh, it's removed, but due to debugging. But that one actually should disable all 0 output at all. So if you have a bad Pola, maybe starts up. Also, if Pola is removed, it will start up and we will go fast, because then it will notice that Pola isn't there and just skip 0 port, and then startup will be faster. Major glitch here. Anyway, I think that's about starting it up, and maybe we can do a test here for bad memory. This is the most common thing that people use it for because of green screen situations. And see if I can push on the Amiga again. And I introduce an error by shorting data pins. Here, okay, what's this? Here you can see here's a difference between the daily and the stable version, because the stable version does not show this binary data. Anyway, I made it short, and this is what my detection writes to see if there's memory, and this is what it read. And you can see here there's a bit error, and this can help you find maybe a bad chip or short like I did now, or trace cut or something like that. This will help you detect green screen issues. Remember, the green screen in Workbench does not mean the actual chip is dead. I just go nuts of people just changing RAM chips because green screen means that it can't detect RAM, chip RAM, actually the first 16K of RAM, and then it skips. It doesn't need to be the RAM chips. It can be the budget, it can be the Lisa, it can be a trace, it can be resistors, it can be anything. But helping finding, look at this, because on the, if you can see just ones there, all one, then it's most probably not their chip. It's maybe a buffer on the 500 or something that have buffer chips for the memory. It's maybe one of those that are bad or doesn't get the power because of corrosion, of battery leakage, etc. And yeah, so that's good thing. And actually, this is how I try to find what chip it is, because I do this hardcore. When I find a machine and find that it's a bit error, I actually poke the data pins to see where the error comes, and then I can pinpoint what chip it is, because then it's the same place as the error. So yeah, that's a good way to find it. Or you can look at the schematics. That's a lazy way to. This is a lazy way. I can tell you that on the 1200, those lower, the 16 and 17 are for the first meg, and 17, 18 are for the second meg, and the upper chips here are for the upper 16 bits, and the lower one is for the lower 16 bits. Good for you to know. Okay. Also, DiagROM. I try to make DiagROM work on as broken machines as possible. So you can actually start it without CAAs. You can start it without Paula, etc. Sometimes a short makes a machine doesn't boot. And then DiagROM will not start. But you can always look on the power LED. The Amiga have the dual power LED here. If there are any flash on the LED, then it will most probably load DiagROM. So on an ordinary 1200 or anything, look at the power LED. On all troubleshooting, always look at the power LED. When you power it on, it will go to half bright always, and then after 1 second it will go to bright. This is a requirement more or less for DiagROM to work. Otherwise it will not work. It's, well, okay, if the CA is broken, it can't show the power LED to high, or on the 4000 with the battery leakage. But usually it must happen. Many people say yes, power from the LED is okay. I don't care. It doesn't change to bright light. Always look at that. That's the biggest and most important tool of hardware troubleshooting actually on the Amiga. Power LED go to full bright after 1 second. The only exceptions are the Amiga 1000 and the revision 3 Amiga 500, maybe the revision 5, I'm not sure, but the revision 3 and the Amiga 1000 does not happen like that. They will go power on instead, full power LED. If the CA working, and will be, yeah, doesn't have the half bright thing. Yeah, that's about starting. So some simple tests, and I will do this via PuTTY, because it's better screen quality than the composite one, and power on. Detects RAM. And now I can move the PC, the Amiga mouse, or I can go to the PC and cursor up, down, or choose a number. System info doesn't say that much actually. It shows all readable registers, what they are right now. It shows how much chip RAM there is. This bug there starts at FFFF, should be 0. Doing a ROM checksum test should be green, otherwise you have some issues addressing to the ROM. Checks what CPU you have, and all the same here. If you have 060, we also read the revision. It checks if 1114 is readable at address 0, and that's if OL isn't working, then it actually finds the ROM address there, and it shouldn't. And then it checks for the real ROM address, and it should. It checks for 1111 at F0000, and that's if you have like a Blizzard 1260 or Cyberstorm or something that have an EEPROM. Then it will say yes there, because it have a kickstart small EEPROM that disables the FPU on the 060, something that's needed. So no, it's not an error unless you have a 1260 or something. Stack buttons at boot, it just shows if you had any button pressed during power up. Actually, right now I actually just noticed today that it disables also the button, and I need to handle that, but because I disabled it, because if it is a stuck key, then it shouldn't interfere you with menus, etc. But here is the option you choose at power on, and yeah, I have to fix that one better. Oh, I forgot also at the bottom here we have a status line, and actually it says what serial port speed there is. For the moment you can't change it, it's 9600 period. If you have a loopback adapter, it will say loop, I think. If you haven't pressed any key, so it disables the serial port, it says none. And maybe it's that bad poll or so. If it's a bad poll, I can't remember now. Tells what CPU you have, how much chip memory found, how much fast memory found, and the base memory. Anyway, audio tests. I have no audio connected to this machine now, but there's a simple test here that just shows on and off channels. You can hear the tune. Volume is not actually. I'm lazy. I need to fix that one. It's full volume. You cannot change it. And here you can change type of signal, so you can measure it, filter on off, and you can see on my Amiga here that I changed that. Also, you can do a test module here, a place module, and this module is actually so designed that if there are any distortion, you will hear it. And here you can press 1 to turn on off channels. You can press R for right or L for left. Filter and plus minus for changing master volume. This is on the Amiga is using the UK keyboard. And well, then we have the memory tests, and this is the deepest one. So I will just do a fast one here. Actually, oh, Tristan, Martin, I think that's, yeah, I'm working on that one. Extended test, it scans the whole 2 megabyte memory and will show if there are any bit errors. This takes time, long time, and yeah, it can be cancelled by pressing the right mouse button. You do the same, but with the fast RAM, and same that it scans, does a fast scan instead. This means that it actually doesn't do a deep test, it just tests one long word every 1K. This is just to detect if there are any memory. It's worthless to test the memory, it's more for scanning. And slow scan, this is for the 3000 and 4000, there's common fast RAM issues. Slow scan does the same but as fast scan, but with every byte. It takes much longer. But here you can also find what bits are bad. And it shows dead block, that means all bits are bad. Bad block means that some bits are correct, and there are okay bit block that all bits are okay. We have complete memory detection. It's scans memory, and here we have shadow RAM. Oh, interesting. Some cards presents its memory in different parts of the memory, and some cards are harder to detect. This board have 60 megs RAM. Okay. Always bugs. Always the fun. Manual memory test. Here you actually write down what memory addresses you want to test. You can write 5,000 to 8,000, ship them, do a fast test or slow test every K or every byte. Do you want to disable shadow RAM test? This actually is the duplicates as you saw before. If you should not care about this, testing this, I use no. Yep, that part of the block was good. And then we have manual memory edit. This is so you can, like a machine code monitor, you can go around and enter RAM. It edits right into RAM. So if you're editing into DiagROM variables space, you will make it crash or behave different. And you can see that it updates everything. So no DA instead of AA. That means that this is actually something that was written again because it's in variable mode. But here, if it goes back, then you can maybe detect that you have a memory issue. If you're looking for a RAM period area that you should work. You can press G for go to, and you can erase it, or just press X and erase everything. Put any memory address and we show it. Also, you can press H for cache on and off. This is disabled 68,000 machines. And it's for testing cache. Most actually it's Stephen Learism that asked for that one for developing his O30 card. Also, you can press page up, page down, Q or Z for page up, page down. I haven't yet implemented it from the serial port with the real page up, page down keys. Also a very not used function that I will just show. It's X that executes from where you are right now, and it will most likely crash. And also a feature asked for from Steve Leary while developing his 360 card and testing the ROM, the bootstrap ROM that disables FPU. So, well, why not have it there? It's quite pointless because, yeah, it will crash. And if you don't want to enter some code like this and go there and execute it, yeah, hardcore coding. Escape, exits it, and yeah, that's it. You can go also, we have autoconfig. It does autoconfig if you have an autoconfig board, because when you start DiagROM, it will not show the autoconfig RAM, because if something is bad on it, then it would crash. So you do this manually. I don't have any autoconfig RAM here. This 030 card is here. It's not autoconfig. Very much memory on them, especially on the 12 card. It's not actually autoconfig. The Kickstart knows that if it finds RAM in certain areas, just adds it to the system. And DiagROM can only use non-autoconfig RAM in the beginning, period. And then we have experimental new memory test. It's not working yet. I'm working on stuff there. Okay, CA tests. Here we test the interrupts. Press enter and it shows, and level 7 will fail here. Yep, fail. I can show you that it requires that you have hardware for it, and the reAMIGA have it. So I can do it here and do a press there, and it will show okay. It's no error if it says fail there, because most NVIDIA does not have this hardware hack. It's okay. That's the place where it's okay to get a fail. Test TIAs. This first test here, it just runs a test of the CIAs. This will be removed later. This is the old version. It will fail on NTSC machines. And do like this, actually. So instead I'm doing this one, the experimental test. Does the same, but it will show the result is okay for PAL or NTSC. And it does the test for 100 frames, so that's why the PAL and NTSC shows okay for both of them here. Oh, I have a bad CA here. Interesting. Or I have the wrong value there. How will you see? Either I have a bad CA or I have the wrong value. So this is experimental, yes. So the meaning here is that you should have okay on any of the columns. So, for example, if you have an Amiga 3000 connected to the in US, but you have in PAL mode, it will say PAL okay, but the ticked VSync will be NTSC okay, most probably. Yeah, main menu again, graphics tests. This will not show anything for serial port. That's why I'm now doing this again. So You show the DiagROM screen. You can see that if the picture is okay or some colors are wrong or something. Test screen here. Actually, that one doesn't say that much, and yay, I'm developing. It crashed, basically. Test roll is just testing the meter. I will do more stuff later. This just shows if the raster is working. RGB test here, it shows in 16 colors right now, so you can see that the RGB values are correct. Later I will also do that. If you have an AGA machine, it will do it in AGA mode instead. Port tests. These you need you need like the joystick port tester I have here, or the adapters here. And well, so with the per port adapter in now, to be looping, yeah, that's simply tests forever. So yeah, it tests forever, or if you press the key. There's a LED there as well that you can't see here because it's bright. That's showing that there are 5 volts. And the same with serial port. You can't do that with the null modem in place. And you have here the joystick ports. If you remove the mouse, you will get random numbers. But you can see that if I press the right mouse button, that I will show later also in text. But you can see that registers are changed. Press left mouse button and you can see that registers are changed. And by adding this little adapter from, actually I think it's, I can't remember if it's Tristan or Martin that it is. It does automatic up, far down, right, left. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Press both mouse buttons, go out from here. Keyboard test, yeah. I don't have any keyboard in this one, but it shows simply the keyboard, and yeah. Other tests is the RTC test. It shows date depending on which chipset you have. This one doesn't have any working RTC, so it doesn't update anything. Autoconfig, the same as in memory, but this is detailed, so if it finds a card, it will show you more about the card, and you will get the option if you want to mount it or not. When we have the drive test also, I forgot that one. This drive test is, yep, software in development. It's buggy. It does work on some machines like my 4000. It doesn't work on some 500s. I need to fix it. Gale tests, it just reads the first block of the hard drive, tells you what kind of a drive it is. Same with Gary. I will do more advanced tests later, and also on the master drive. Setup is not in progress. Yeah, I haven't done anything yet there. I haven't decided how to handle it actually. Yeah, that's a fast show of what DiagROM is, how to set it up and start it, and hopefully you can do some tests with it. It does not show what chip it is, etc. You need still to have some kind of hardware knowledge of the Amiga. It's impossible to do anything. Let's say that Lisa is dead. I will try to do tests like this. So if you have a chip that is bad, that remotely anyway starts up DiagROM, please contact me, because I'm interested in all those kind of chips, so I can do maybe detects of it. Yeah, I think that's quite it for now. For this first 1 hour session of DiagROM. Jesus, 1 hour. Can I be nagging so much about that one? Anyway, do make comments later that what I should do next for troubleshooting, etc. Maybe I'll do some video where I found a issue and how I detected it, etc. But it's hard because when I'm working on a machine, I usually just work on it and don't record it. So yeah, that's it most likely. Anyway, I hope this has been some kind of useful. And well, do comments if I missed something that you want to know more about or anything like that. And I will make another stream or so later. But now I think I'll call it night and do some actual work here in my new lab, as I have moved. No, I don't have in my small tight room. Now I have actually big here, a solder area, and my workplace here, storage, and in the back you can see all the machines sent to me. Every machine now has its own place and note and everything, so it's more easy for me to have track of everything. Still some kind of mess because yeah, moved here in the center of my town, actually a railway station right next to me. And well, now I will actually do some Amiga's work as I'm off work for 1 week. Yay! Anyway, thank you for listening or anything, and please comment what you want to see any more in the future, and stay grounded.